Hey everyone, it's Astro again. I was asked to make a video showing you guys how we installed our diesel heater in our van because as far as I can see on YouTube, I haven't really seen any other van lifers install their diesel heaters exactly this way. And to be honest, I'm still not really sure if this was super smart or super dumb. So here's how we installed our diesel heater in our van so we can survive Canadian winters. Ta-da! So I know this looks a bit messy right now. We do have a solar panel outside here, so that's what two of these cables are. And this yellow cable here is the extension cable that comes and connects to the diesel heater so it can have power to run. I know it doesn't look very elegant. I could probably have made this look a little bit better, and I still might make this look a little bit better in the future, but for now, it at least works. And to be honest, when you live in a van, I kind of think that's all that matters. Let's go through more or less how I built this. The very basic of what's holding this to the door is this 1x2 and this 1x2 that I drilled to the inside of the door. And then there's these two L brackets right here that connect to this 1x6. And that's the platform that's holding the diesel heater together. The diesel heater itself has two bolts on each side, keeping it secure to the 1x6. It also has a bolt under each side to keep it extra secure. And at the top here, I don't know how well you can see it, but I have on each handle, I have a zip tie, keeping it nice and tight against those 1x4s. And that's just in case it's a very bumpy ride or I'm taking a sharp turn. The heater isn't like having a lot of weight or a lot of force being pulled that way. And it keeps it nice and tight that way, and it's bolted down that way. It just makes it feel a little bit extra safe. I'm not really sure if there's any huge benefit of having the diesel heater on the door instead of somewhere inside. All I know is that for someone like me, it felt better to have this like this. And when I want to put some fuel in here, I can just open the door entirely, fuel it up, and if a little bit comes out, it comes out here, not in there. Also, if there ever ends up being some issue with the diesel heater itself, it's all here. It's technically all accessible from inside the van. It's accessible from right here. And if there's an issue, I could take it apart and try to fix it. And that has happened before. I didn't know that this had been leaking while I was driving around throughout the day, because as you drive around and this sloshes around and a little bit was leaking out of there, and it was going around the tank and through or around the sort of like combustion, the outside of the combustion chamber. And I didn't notice it throughout the day, but at night when I went to go turn on the diesel heater, it was smelling so much like diesel that I knew for sure something had to be wrong with it, and the whole van inside smelled like diesel. And even though it's a little pain in the butt to have to unbolt this from here, I was pretty glad that this was assembled like this, so I can just take out the bolts, remove the zip ties, remove the casing, and then me and my wife together, we cleaned as much of it as possible because there was a lot of diesel in a lot of parts. But because this was all here and accessible, we were able to access that and clean it. So it's a little dirty. Gosh dang, I could have cleaned this first. It's probably coffee that I've spilled because I usually rest my coffee mug right up here. So when we're in the van, there's an intake that comes in through here, goes over the combustion chamber, and then gets heated. And this will be here, and we can direct it however we want. And the air inside of the van gets warm. Then down here, we have another intake and another exhaust. These are two different ones that you kind of have to be a little bit smart about. This one in particular, because this is the combustion exhaust. This has to be routed outside. And this is the one that I was telling you that everyone routes from underneath their van to the outside so that the combustion is going outside. But like I said, I didn't want this to be hidden far away in a place that I couldn't really see. The tip of these things usually has a little silencing muzzle thing. I don't have it assembled on mine, but usually people who have their combustion exhaust routed through underneath still have those muzzles on the edge. And the other day on the highway, guess what I saw on the side of the road? One of those muzzles. Because you drive and you don't see your exhaust every day. I get to see my diesel heater every day, and I get to see immediately if there's something visually wrong with it. So that's the combustion exhaust. It comes out from there and out from the side of the door here. Pretty simple. And this one here is another air intake. As you can see, it's kind of just being pulled together here or held together here by rope. I also should fix that one of these days. But all this is fresh air that goes into the combustion chamber and then out from the exhaust. This being inside is creating a negative air pressure. So this is pulling air from the outside of the van to come into the van, to be sucked in from here, to then be sucked back out. But that's not really a problem for me. I usually have the front windows overnight, at least like a millimeter cracked open, because you want fresh air when you're sleeping. You don't want the same old stale air anyways. So I always, unless it's raining, have those windows cracked at least a millimeter or two. Cosmo's barking. These things get the inside of the van really hot. A lot of van lifers complain about how hot these things actually get the inside of their van. So much so that a lot of people will say, well, I'm just going to keep my window cracked because I don't want to have to turn this on and off all day. I'll just keep it on low, window cracked, and there's kind of a balance of fresh air coming in and warmth being retained in the van. Oh, my leg. I almost forgot to mention a very important thing, which is this right here, which powers the diesel heater. This is an AC to DC converter. So all you really have to do with this, it's very simple, guys. Trust me, if you're watching this video to try to figure out if you want to install a diesel heater in your van and how that would work, if I can do it, you can do it. I am not very mechanically inclined or anything like that. If I could do it, you could do it. This cable right here is the cable that comes attached with the diesel heater, and all it does is it leads you to these right here, the positive and the negative. And I bought separately this black cable, which on one end has this right here, which is what connects to just a standard cable. And then on the other end, it has what is the positive, the negative, and I guess the ground or the neutral. Like I said, guys, I just looked up a couple of tutorials and I tried to find out what everyone else was doing to try to make sure that I was doing it the right way. I also double checked with my brother who studied for a while to be an electrician, and he said this seemed okay. And that's it. Once this is connected this way, you plug this into your battery and it works. So there you have it. That's how we installed our diesel heater in our van.